Welcome to Level 3. Here I will discuss what I have learned and what skills I developed throughout this project. First of all, take a look around. See where I am? I can be anywhere. This is one thing I learned thanks to my project. I'm sitting peacefully in my room, but for you, I can be everywhere at once. This is because I use green screen and the skills I developed when learning how to use it. In my product, the green screen is an essential part of the composition because it allows me to project a gloomy apocalyptic city to the audience. For my project, I used the program DaVinci Resolve 19, where I spent endless hours achieving the ideal picture. Through the process of editing, I have faced several issues such as the complexity of stabilizing green screen on moving shots, or the problem with the size of the green screen, so that I had to manually shape the form. Despite these problems, I was able to learn how to fix them during post-production. Moreover, as I have never worked before in such complicated projects, I have paid particular attention to learning about special effects and 3D modeling, which I used to create a wormhole for the titles. Another skill that I learned is to produce music. Before this project, I never tried to create a new soundtrack, so I only used free samples with no copyrights from the internet. However, this time I felt that if I'm working on this project for so long and I'm so engaged in it, it would be unfair to use someone else's music rather than try to create my own and put a part of my soul in this process. Therefore, at first, I decided to use my skills in playing violin, as I thought it would bring the desired mournful tone to the scene. So one day I sat, wrote a short soundtrack and recorded it. However, later, after I finished the shooting process and started to edit, I understood that the atmosphere created wasn't the one I wanted to convey. The audio and the visual picture did not match. Then I decided to use the music creation app BandLab. At first, everything looked very complicated, with various pages, buttons, features, and so on. But I needed to create my soundtrack, so I stayed, and step by step I have learned how this app works. So now I know how to make a perfect soundtrack for anything. One of the most significant skills I developed is managing skills. In my project, 9 actors were initially involved, 1 main character and 8 politicians. It was a huge issue during pre-production to coordinate all of them, and most importantly to plan the shooting schedule when all of them would be free. I had to pay attention to their personal schedules and choose the shooting day accordingly, which was complicated also due to the restrictions of the room where I wanted to film, as it was only free on certain days of the week. Despite this problem, eventually I succeeded and found the perfect date. However, life never goes without unexpected obstacles. Therefore, one day before the shooting, one of my actors got sick. Luckily, it wasn't the main character, but this situation taught me to be ready for unexpected changes and to be able to solve problems in limited time. In the end, I had to rewrite the script a little and give this actor's lines to another actor's. During the stage of production, I also developed my skills, as well as I faced some obstacles. To begin with, I developed my directing and operator skills, as I was shooting an arc shot, which is difficult to shoot due to many actions happening simultaneously. While filming, my eyes were locked on the screen of my phone to ensure that the picture was focused and showed exactly what I wanted. At the same time, I was walking around the table with actors, so I had to pay attention to their sudden actions. One time, one of the actors suddenly leaned back on his chair and almost bumped into the camera. In addition, I had to be careful not to stumble on something while walking. At the same time, my ears were focused on the actors' lines to ensure they were saying everything correctly and their tone matched the mood. I also had a great issue to calm them down because sometimes they were laughing and smiling during shooting. To conclude, I developed various skills throughout my project and understood how hard it is for professionals to overcome obstacles. I also faced some challenges and was able to solve many of them. However, there is one thing I would like to improve, which is lighting. During shooting, I used a small red lamp, which allowed me to lit perfectly my close-up shots, but in the overall picture during arc shot, the light was accidentally reflected from the glass-surfaced wall. Unfortunately, I could not fix this problem on post-production. Therefore, I think that this situation is a good lesson for my future projects and the aspect I have to pay more attention to.